the first United Nations agency to open an office in Hanoi. Supporting generations of children to grow and to thrive. For 50 years, Vietnam and UNICEF have shared one promise: supporting Vietnam's remarkable progress for the rights of children.
The UNICEF's journey with Vietnam over the past 50 years has been remarkable.
Vietnam and UNICEF, 50 years, one commitment, for every child, a brighter future.
"50 years ago, Vietnam had just reunited and was facing immense challenges. And UNICEF was among the first to stand with the country's children, from emergency relief to digital transformation, clean water to climate action. Now, UNICEF and Vietnam have walked this journey together, and today we celebrate 5 decades of resilience, innovation, and hope. Now, joining us to discuss this journey between Vietnam and UNICEF together is Ms. Silvia Danailov, UNICEF Representative in Vietnam, and it's a great honor to have you here with us today.
I'm very pleased to be with you today, Dylan. Thanks for having me on Talk Viet Nam.
Thank you so much. How does your relationship with Vietnam begin?
So, you know, I'm really very lucky to be in Vietnam now for over a year as part of my journey with UNICEF globally. I've been working 25 years with UNICEF around the world. And I came to Vietnam over a year ago to lead a wonderful team of international and national colleagues who work in Vietnam to pursue the rights of the child. I chose to come to Vietnam, and I was lucky to be assigned here. Because for me, knowing about the history of the country and knowing all the history it went through in 1975 was really a difficult story, and Vietnam had to invest a lot to rebuild. And today is one of the most innovative, dynamic, modern country going forward with very ambitious objectives and roles. I was born in a country that doesn't exist anymore, in former Yugoslavia. And so also the linkages between my country of birth, former Yugoslavia, and Vietnam have also been very strong historically. So I grew up with the history of Vietnam as well.
Wow, that is really impressive. Throughout the 50 years, what do you think are some of the most significant milestones that Vietnam and UNICEF have been doing together?
So, I mean, we can. Each chapter has its own story. In the 70s and 80s, we've really provided some of the basic emergency relief, building schools, providing safe water, helping communities have access to safe water, health. In the 1980s, I'm really proud to say that we had a national program on immunization to help eradicate polio, neonatal tetanus. In the 1990s, really, Vietnam was the first country in Asia and the second country worldwide to ratify the Convention on the Rights of the Child. This is the international instrument to protect children's rights.
How has the mission of UNICEF changed throughout the year, and more specifically, working more with strategies?
Yes, exactly. So when we arrived here in 1975, it was really almost direct implementation, helping install water pumps. Everybody remembers the water pump for safe water for communities, because when children have access to safe water, their health improves, their nutrition improves, they're better at school. Back in the 1970s, 80s, for example, many children have parasites, and we were able to engage. But as the country has evolved and there have been national investments and progress in those areas, today, over the years, we are helping shape up the policies for children and strengthen the systems. So how are now some of the national policies in Vietnam focusing on children? How are we building the capacity and strength of the people working at national and decentralized level to take care of children? So we transformed, but the constant and the positive is really the focus on girls and boys, on children in the national policies, the priorities of this country. As I said, it's really a role model regionally and globally how much the country has invested in children.
For 50 years, Vietnam's partnership with UNICEF has turned vaccination into one of the country's greatest public health successes. From the launch of the National Immunization Program in 1981, millions of children have been protected from deadly diseases. According to WHO and UNICEF, Vietnam now maintains some of the highest vaccination rates in the region. In 2023 to 2024, coverage for key childhood vaccines reached near universality. The number of zero-dose children has fallen by more than 95%, meaning almost every child now receives at least one life-saving vaccine.
Every chapter in our journey tells a story of progress. Supporting immunization campaign that saved countless lives, each chapter tells a story of resilience and progress. What for me stands out most is the consistency of the partnership with the government of Vietnam. Through every challenge, UNICEF and Vietnam stood side by side, always asking, what more can we do for children's rights?
UNICEF has played a vital role by training health workers, upgrading cold chain systems, and ensuring vaccines reach remote communities where travel used to be a major barrier.
Một cái thành tựu lớn mà UNICEF hỗ trợ Việt Nam đó là giúp cho Việt Nam nâng cao vấn đề sức khỏe, giảm tỷ suất tử vong ở dưới 5 tuổi và dưới 1 tuổi, thế rồi là giải quyết cái vấn đề về dinh dưỡng, hỗ trợ về phòng chống suy dinh dưỡng, rồi vấn đề về tiêm chủng. Tôi cho rằng là cái việc hỗ trợ của UNICEF trong vấn đề tiêm chủng của Việt Nam thì mang lại hiệu quả rất lớn, và điều đó thể hiện rất rõ. Từ những năm trước đây thì khi tỷ lệ tiêm chủng của chúng ta rất là thấp, và đến bây giờ thì cái tỷ lệ tiêm chủng của chúng ta là 97-98%. Thế và đặc biệt là UNICEF cũng hỗ trợ cho chúng ta trong cái việc là làm thế nào có thể là triển khai tiêm chủng ở các cái vùng khó khăn, các cái vùng nghèo. Đấy là những vùng mà cái sự tiếp cận của trẻ, của cha mẹ rất là khó.
As Vietnam looks ahead, the country and UNICEF remain committed to reaching every child in every community with every vaccine they need.
If you could provide us a little bit more information on some of that policies and how has it shaped the developments of children in Vietnam?
Yes, so in the start, we focused a lot on some of the health indicators. A child growing healthy, and so
it's a great foundation.
It's the foundation. I mean, a good start in life, so that every child has access to the health services, immunization. So through a lot of investment in national program on immunization, we were able to support the country to eradicate some of the childhood illnesses from the start. In nutrition, for example, when you have iodine deficiencies, yes, and how can we eliminate those, but also having better nutrition for children, that has evolved. Today, one of the challenge now is in the big cities we also have obesity that is linked to some of the practices of being less active and needing to educate the children and parents themselves on better nutrition. So most recently also we have helped the government enact a tax on sugar-sweet beverages to be able to control what is happening. In the field of protection, we have been supporting, for example, a child may be, a victim, could be also a witness in some difficult situation, or even a perpetrator of some violence. When a child comes in contact with the law, how are the courts equipped to engage with children? So we have helped establish the first juvenile court to treat situation of minors. In the justice system, but also investing in the social workers' capacity to accompany children and their family throughout those situations. I think what is extremely important, our pride is to be part of progress, but how progress impacts every child everywhere is where we're focusing on. When we talk about health, we still have some challenges with some of the immunization coverage in the country, or having everyone access the better nutritious information. When you talk about digital transformation, I think it's extremely positive. How can we use digital transformation in the schools and to have access to better education outcomes? But, you know, when children are online, there are some challenges in terms of their protection, cyberbullying, violence. In general, in the country, some of the numbers show that more than 70% of children report that they have violent discipline at home. So the protection, physical protection, mental protection, protection online against cyberbullying, violence are key topics of our work. But at the moment, government has recognized this issue as a key topic, but how can we help children in that area? And then, unfortunately, we can see the climate change.
Yes.
This is really when I arrived last year, a month after my arrival in Vietnam, Typhoon Yagi hit the country. And I got to travel to some of the communities. I was very touched because it was an unprecedented typhoon. It's been 70 years there wasn't such a typhoon.
Yes.
Communities, children's lives have been upended. So the challenges for us is to see how we can build stronger system for prevention and response to such disasters, but also putting children at the heart of climate policies, all the efforts that the government of Vietnam is doing to address those challenges.
Speaking of challenges like that, we're also, are hopeful towards the future, of course. Have you seen any success stories and anything that, it's for you personally really gives you the hope for the future?
I mean, there are many success stories in all the sectors in Vietnam. I must say, in the field of education, I see a lot of investment from the government over the years. In the past, not all children were going to school. You have a near universal enrollment in school levels, a lot of investment. Also, for example, for children belonging to minority groups, how can they learn in their mother language? So a lot of investment in the mother tongue education has been very successful. Also, how Vietnam has taken the digital transformation and innovation to build the digital skills of children. We've also been introducing very innovative ways through virtual technologies to help them, or gaming, looking at gaming to enhance their capacity to learn and to thrive. In 2016, Vietnam has adopted a law on children to define also how the country is going to strengthen the child protection system. So in all the communes, you have child protection capacity systems, workers who have been trained, and we're really proud that we have been alongside this efforts. And then the health sector is really a huge progress. We eradicated a lot of the childhood illnesses, and now digital transformation is helping to increase the services and provide the maternal and child health support that is needed.
All right, and I think another important aspect that we must highlight is that we have to close the gap of development between child from different backgrounds, so ethnic child from ethnic groups, people, children who lives in urban spaces compared to rural spaces. And so I guess like with new tools coming in hand, have you seen any success stories in terms of closing that gap?
Yeah, I've been speaking to many, may they be parents in ethnic minority groups or with a child with disability. They all want their children to thrive. And so I've been really glad to see how some of our initiatives, for example, inclusive education, help integrate children from ethnic minorities in the school system so that they can start learning in a language they understand. So inclusive learning and mother tongue learning has been one success stories. I was talking for children with disabilities, how we can help the health system detect some of the disabilities from early on, and provide support also that the schools are inclusive and those children are not being pulled aside, but they are protected. Children from migrant children, their legal identity and access to services is supported.
I think we speak a lot about, various challenges that, plaguing the development of children, not only in Vietnam, but around the world as well. And like I've said before, emerging challenges are always tricky. So could you help enlighten us on how climate change can encroach, into children's life and really hamper their growth, and how has UNICEF been doing to...
This is not only in Vietnam, but I must say Vietnam is especially vulnerable to climate crisis. When I traveled to Cao Bang just after Yagi struck there, I could see children who have lost family members. I'm not even talking about children who died. The education system was disrupted. Also, access to water, housing was disrupted. And I take this one example where by focusing and building schools that are safe and can withstand shocks, having systems in place that are climate smart and resist to shocks is something also positive. Now, we have been investing a lot, for example, and we have some innovative approaches, for example, in the water sector. How can we have water systems that are resilient to external shocks and climate change? We work with artificial intelligence to try to predict zones of flooding. When you have a disaster, you have models and technologies that can predict what is happening, so to protect people better. So UNICEF, we are proud that we are one of the agencies and organizations that responds very proactively to this crisis, but also helps rebuild the lives and normalcy for children to go on with their lives.
Cô đứng ở ngoài đường kia, cô khóc, cô nhìn về cái bùn riếc nó vẫn còn gắn vào cái mái danh này. Hôm đầu cô không ăn không ngủ được ấy. Chả có tài sản to lớn gì đâu, nhưng mà những cái thiết thực hàng ngày thì nó là mất rồi.
When Storm Yagi swept across Vietnam in 2024, it left more than damaged homes behind. It disrupted the most essential need of all, clean and safe water. For Cook and her children in Lao Cai province, help arrived just in time from UNICEF.
One is immediate response, like what we are providing now in terms of water supply systems to ensure family and the children have a proper sanitation, proper hygiene, as well as adequate access to water.
In its wake, UNICEF mobilized support across the country, working with partners to reach the hardest-hit communities. In Cao Bang province, the delegation saw firsthand how deeply the storm had affected daily life, and how UNICEF's nationwide response restored clean water and sanitation, strengthened child protection services, and provided vital mental health support for families rebuilding their futures.
Khi cơn bão xảy ra, gia đình con thiệt thòi rất nhiều thứ. Khi nhận được bộ dụng cụ bảo vệ trẻ em, cái màn ngủ, giấy vệ sinh, giấy ướt, giấy ăn, bàn chải đánh răng, kem đánh răng, khăn lau mặt, ủng và một bộ áo. Em cảm thấy rất là mừng. Những đồ dùng này rất là cần thiết để cho con có thể sử dụng khi thiên tai xảy ra.
Speaking of emerging challenges, climate change is one thing, but also aging population as well. How important is addressing this challenge in helping Vietnam transition into a truly developed nation?
This is really an important topic and question because it's around the corner. Vietnam is a fast-aging country. I read a statistic, and I don't want to give you too many statistics, but there will be many older people over 60 years old soon. So, and they will need to be taken care of by, young adults.
Yeah.
So how can Vietnam become rich and not faster than aged? How can we reap the benefit of the younger generation now? Because, and this is where investing in children today is so important. Because when you invest in a child who is healthy and well-nourished, that child will be the doctor of tomorrow, taking care of the aging population. Investing in a girl's education today, that girl will be able to be the teacher of tomorrow, opening the minds, or the social worker who will be helping some of the aged populations. I really wish that Vietnam's ambition that in 2045 Vietnam becomes a high-income country, and that requires skilled, empowered and ready young generation to be the most productive possible and also support the economic development.
With the advent of AI, how can we equip children with knowledge and know-hows, and how can we equip with their protective systems to be prepared for this AI-driven age?
Yes, so that is so important, and especially in Vietnam, that has high ambition to be high-income country, invest in human capital development. How can we reap the benefits of digital transformation from children? And so UNICEF, we've been working with the Ministry of Education and Training for the AI framework for the teachers, how can they use the benefit of AI in the teaching? Of course, it goes also with the parents and children themselves on the best use of technology for positive development, but also safe, inclusive way of navigating the digital transformation. And it goes beyond the education system. For example, in the health system, we've been supporting the health authorities to put in place the digitalization of the mother and child data so that there is a faster approach, and data is really at the fingerprints of the health workers. I feel here in Vietnam, the focus on digital transformation is extremely positive. Now, how we accompany the digital upskilling, inclusive use of digital technology, not just for children in the urban centers, but throughout the country, so that there are no disparities and you don't have a society where some people are really reaping up all the positive of the digital transformation and others don't have that access or are even suffering from some of the negative consequences, for example, of child abuse online.
At Lopang Kindergarten, all the children come from ethnic communities. Before, teachers struggled to teach effectively with very limited access to digital learning materials. But with UNICEF's Global Digital Library Initiative, the quality of teaching has improved, giving both teachers and children new tools to learn and grow.
UNICEF cũng hỗ trợ để làm sao mà thay đổi cái môi trường dạy và học. Thư viện số toàn cầu cũng cung cấp các cái trò chơi, phát triển kỹ năng, tăng cường cái tương tác cho học sinh, không những làm kỹ năng số mà cả những kỹ năng làm việc nhóm.
Hiện tại thì nhà trường vừa rồi đã được nhận rất là nhiều các thiết bị điện tử như iPad này, TV thông minh để phục vụ cho các hoạt động dạy học. Khi các con được tiếp cận và sử dụng các thiết bị được cấp phát thì các con rất là hào hứng tham gia vào các cái hoạt động dạy và học, và các tầm nhìn của các con nhìn ra thế giới xung quanh cũng dễ dàng hơn.
Con rất thích TV và máy tính bảng. Con được chơi quiz và mảnh ghép vui vẻ. Qua đó con được học chữ cái và toán. Con rất vui.
Với cái tiết học với robot là lần đầu tiên trẻ được khám phá, rất là thích thú, sôi nổi. Trẻ được giao tiếp, được làm những cái hoạt động nhóm rất là tự tin luôn. Chỉ cần nhìn thấy cái thẻ lập trình thôi là trẻ đã nói được tên cái thẻ lập trình như thế nào và nó đã có thể sắp xếp được theo cái nội dung câu chuyện mà trẻ nó tự nghĩ ra được.
Con rất thích đi học và ở trường con thích chơi robot ốc xem.
Vietnam's rapid development has created progress for children, but major gaps remain in several sectors. Education has long been a pathway to opportunity, and in the early years, UNICEF helped rebuild schools and train teachers to give every child a fair start. Today, that support has evolved into strengthening inclusive learning systems, improving quality, and ensuring no child is left behind.
Another very interesting, mechanism that UNICEF has been also deploying in Vietnam is net zero toilets.
Yes.
Very interesting. Please tell me more.
Yes, so we're trying to find, as I said, innovative solution to challenges that exist. And so, when you use toilets, for example, when I was in Sok Chan, in the Mekong Delta region, sometimes you really have water drought. I mean, you have drought, you have less access to water, clean water. So these zero net toilets are using wastewater and recycling it with solar panels so that, you use the water, wastewater, recycling into clean water that can be used, especially in schools. We have helped introduce these innovative approaches at school level in area like in the Mekong Delta region where you have a water scarcity in order to have clean water for children to access in schools. So it's really using solar panel, very low carbon footprint, and natural approaches so that really services are available to everyone, potable and clean water is available to everyone in a way that is natural and accessible to all.
What other novelties approach that you would like to highlight that is unique to Vietnam?
I mean, for me, what is also unique here is the partnerships we're building. The government and the national authorities are very strong, but the private sector is really playing a key part in the development outcome of children in the country. When we're talking about innovative approaches, some of the IT private sector partners are investing their tools and mechanisms. We have innovative approaches, for example, how we can use AI to predict flood levels or where the floods will happen in order to prevent communities, families and children to be impacted. We are also using some of the pollution detectors in schools and in health centers to be able to predict pollution levels and help children better protect themselves. Private sector is playing also alongside the public partners innovative roles on how we can push better engagement and solution at community level, bringing expertise and technologies. So we are working with young people who invest in their communities. Recently I was in Da Nang, a very innovative city, thriving and digitally connected, and we asked young people, how can you use AI for strengthening learning of children? And so one of the group there came up with solutions to strengthen mathematics outcome through using AI online. So there are different ways, and we're encouraging putting in place mechanisms to encourage those innovative thinking across the country.
In 2025, UNICEF marks 50 years of working alongside Vietnam to protect, care for, and support the development of every child. The 50th anniversary ceremony was held on November 26th, with the attendance of Deputy Prime Minister Lê Thanh Long and representatives from ministries and government agencies. Over the past decades, the under-5 mortality rate has fallen sharply, from 52 per thousand in 1990 to 16.9 per thousand in 2024. Child malnutrition has declined from 44% to 18.2% by 2023. Each year, more than 5 million children aged 3 to 5 now have access to kindergarten. After 50 years, UNICEF's partnership with Vietnam has helped transform the lives of generations of children. laying the foundation for a healthier, more inclusive, and more hopeful future.
How are you assessing? So, how do you assess like these collective efforts in combination with each other to make a comprehensive change so that no child is left behind?
Yeah, I think first Vietnam is really grounding a lot of its policies and approaches in international standards. Upholding those standards. And as I said, it was really, we not only marked this year the 50th anniversary of UNICEF presence in country, but it's also been since 1990, 35 years that Vietnam government has acknowledged the International Convention on the Rights of the Child that gives all the standards and principles for child protection. So all these years, there's been a lot of investment in different sectors and approaches for children. As I said before, the education system has invested. Health, nutrition outcomes have been very positive. Now, it's extremely important to project oneself. Where would Vietnam, a child born today will be 20 years old in 2045, when Vietnam is having the ambition to become a high-income country. A child in 2045, what will be the best outcome for that child to live? In the health sector is really access to universal health care, access to good nutrition, inclusive education. Every child has access to an education system that's inclusive. You can learn and thrive in that system, may you be from an ethnic minority, children with disability, but also an education system that empowers young people to be ready for the present and the future.
And now, I guess it's a moment to look back at the 50 years that UNICEF has been here. So, is there any moment of UNICEF's presence here in Vietnam historically that has personally resonated with you, that you still remember?
Yes, so it's interesting because one of the symbols of UNICEF's early presence in country is the water pump.
Yes. Maybe it's somewhere around here. It's over there, I believe. Yes.
So and actually it's Audrey Hepburn visiting Vietnam with the water pump. And today, this is a thing of the past. We're not installing water pumps, of course, but we're still thriving to have children and young people 5 decades later adapt to the changing realities so that every single boy and girl benefits from the incredible economic and social development in the country. Everyone knows us from that. We have introduced clean water, helped introduce clean water throughout the country. Today, I think we can see a country thriving thanks to the determination, resilience of Vietnamese people.
Vietnam has gone really tremendous and fascinating way to achieve a lot of results for children. So a lot of things were done. So I would like to commend the government of Vietnam for all the great achievements they have done.
Với vai trò là cơ quan quản lý nhà nước về công tác trẻ em, thì Bộ Y tế sẽ tiếp tục phối hợp chặt chẽ với UNICEF trong xây dựng và triển khai các chính sách, chương trình nhằm đảm bảo mọi trẻ em đều được phát triển một cách toàn diện về thể chất, tinh thần và xã hội.
50 years ago, in partnership with the government of Vietnam, UNICEF became the first UN agency to open an office in Hanoi, committed to helping meet children's basic needs. Since then, we've walked an extraordinary path together, supporting generations of children to survive, to grow and to thrive.
Chúng tôi hướng tới một mục tiêu chung, đó là mọi trẻ em Việt Nam dù ở bất kỳ hoàn cảnh nào đều được sống an toàn, khỏe mạnh, được lắng nghe và có cơ hội phát triển toàn diện.
I want to thank the government of Vietnam and partners from all sectors for championing children's rights. By further strengthening our partnerships, we will build a brighter future for every child.
like we've mentioned before, 2045 is going to be a very important milestone for Vietnam. So what is UNICEF's vision for Vietnam in 2045 in regards to its role, its involvement in strategic decisions, and maybe even further in the future?
Our vision for the country is that really every child benefits from the progress. Every child has the best health possible. Obesity today is rampant because there are, children, families are not always well educated on what are nutritious food, how to lead balanced lives. That healthy and nutritious education is provided. No child is victim and survivor of violence, and that every child is equipped with the best skills, competency, and empowered to contribute positively. So we really hope that all the progress of the last 50 years, that there is really accelerated progress even more. Vietnam is shining at the regional and global level because of the rapid progress, the investment, and the investment in children is something that is very, very strong in the Vietnam history. This determination and this love and investment that it's really the best for the country. In the next 50 years, I really wish that that continues, accelerates, and that every child, so wherever you're born with a disability or you're born in some rural community, you have the capacity to contribute. You know, the children of today are the teachers, the farmers, the doctors, the social workers of tomorrow, and they will help build the strong society in Vietnam, as is already the case today.
Yeah.
I've lived around the world working for UNICEF for 25 years across many different continents. I worked in Africa, I worked in Asia, I worked in Latin America. I think the strength in Vietnam first is really this social focus. You know, the compassion, the empathy, the belief that, you know, we will make it. I mean, 50 years ago when UNICEF was here, the country was devastated by war. I listen to the story of those who can tell about the war. I see images. It's incredible. The country was devastated. But this focus on rebuilding, on making sure that the benefits are here for everyone, the public good. I think it's an incredible country. I think the hope for Vietnamese children is very positive. I hope that the hope for children globally continues to be there. And I think Vietnam's, through its diplomatic efforts, through the example it shows to the world, is playing an incredible role to advance humanity at the global level, not just in Vietnam.
Wow, thank you so much, Silvia, for really coming over to Talk Vietnam and shine a light on the progress that UNICEF and Vietnam has been doing together for 50 years to really propel, you know, the next generation of children in Vietnam into the future of development.
Thank you, Dylan, and Talk Viet Nam for having us here. I'm really humbled that I had the opportunity to show and highlight some of the achievements of UNICEF in the past 50 years and the role we will continue to play in the development of children's well-being in the country. Thank you so much.
And I'm sure that it's going to be the case. And to the audience at home, I hope this conversation has been a comprehensive one to you, not only to look back at the 50 years of work between Vietnam and UNICEF in really preparing children for the next era of development, but maybe a glimpse into the future on what Vietnam would look like with UNICEF in the future as well. Well, that is all for Talk Viet Nam today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Lớp hôm nay ghê trống nhiều vì em chưa tới. Đôi mắt long lanh ước mong được hồn nhiên dòng chơi. Mẹ cha